The Northwest High Court sitting in Mahikeng had to postpone to tomorrow the sentencing proceedings of two Coligny men found guilty of the murder of a teenager, Matlhomola Mosweu.
This was after the third and last state witness became emotional and unable to continue her testimony. Agnes Mosweu, Matlomola's mother, is the last of three witnesses lined up by the state in aggravation of sentencing. Security was also beefed up following an altercation between some black and white community members. Our reporter, Lucas Mothibedi, was outside the High Court earlier.
We are outside the High Court here in Mahikeng in the Northwest, where the second day of the sentencing proceedings of two Coligny men convicted of killing the 16-year-old Matlhomola Mosweu on the 20th of April 2017, they called in, or they lined up at least three more witnesses. The first witness spent the better part of the day explaining how this case will affect, or how this ruling will affect or may trigger some protest in Coligny. He was insisting that at least a harsher sentence of at least 25 years should be imposed on these two convicts. But other than that, we're also expecting that the defense team led by Advocate Frick van Tonder will continue, or will start with heads of argument for mitigation of sentence. With me here, I have the legal expert Ntate Joe Modise to dissect more on this, whether the case as complex as this one with racial undertones, how will it pan out, and whether the court can be influenced in such regard. Dr. Modise, thank you so much for joining us. Perhaps maybe start with this case as complex as is. Before mitigation of sentencing, the aggravation of sentencing, the state has called in at least three more witnesses. What is to be done?
I would understand that in criminal proceedings, once an accused person has been convicted, there's now the stage wherein we call sentencing stage. Sentencing stage, we're expecting the defense to prepare mitigating and the state to prepare aggravating. Aggravating circumstances basically is where now the state comes to show that why a harsher sentence should be given. And the mitigating is where now the defense also comes to say, but given this, we are pleading for a lesser sentence. Now, in this case, already we know that one witness has already testified, who has also given a bigger picture of what has been happening in Coligny, and also who has also appealed to say that a harsher sentence needs to be given by the court. But we understand also that the court, in arriving at sentencing, the court considers three factors. That would be the crime itself, that would be the offender, and that would be the interest of the community or the public. Now, normally with the crime, they look at the violence that was used, they look at the weapon, the injuries or the harm caused to the victim, and so forth. Now, having considered that, they would also look into the circumstances of the offender, and also look into the public, because most importantly, whenever the court sentences anyone, the sentence should not be undermined outside. The public should not start to think that the court is just giving a lenient sentence. The court is not doing much in order to ensure that they prevent crime from taking place.
Because I was coming there, can the public or the community influence the court?
The public or the community would not necessarily influence the court, but the court must be mindful of the fact that the community or the public looking at the sentence that they're gonna met out or they're gonna impose. The public should not start to say, but e.g., there's a case of murder, somebody has been given a warning or a year imprisonment. The public also should start to have confidence in the public system to say that indeed there's fairness, indeed as the sentence that the court has imposed fits that particular crime which was committed.
And lastly, these two convicts were charged with a slew of charges: murder, kidnapping, pointing a firearm, and defeating the ends of justice. I mean, can the court also deviate from the minimum prescribed for premeditated murder of 25 years?
I don't think the court can necessarily deviate from imposing that, although yes, we need to understand that imposing a sentence that lies or is the discretion of the court, but also relevant factors ought to have been placed before the court so that the court can arrive at the proper sentencing. But yes, we know that there are multiple charges that were convicted on, so I don't think the court would give any lesser sentence given the circumstances.